Hey, good evening. Welcome to the June 8th Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Teresa, if you would call the roll.
Councilman Whalen?
Here.
Councilwoman Standard?
Here.
Councilman Romano?
Here.
Councilwoman Malowitz?
Here.
Supervisor Garrett?
Here. We don't have any minutes.
No.
Okay. Communications and announcements. Just wanted to get a few that I want to talk about. The first is there was a rally today in town, and there's been a lot of talk throughout the week once a flyer was posted on social media describing the rally was to take place here in Clifton Park. The information that was part of the flyer was that the rally would begin at the soccer fields at the Common. Then there would be the group assembled would be walking to the public safety building. And there were no further details after that. What did happen was the group did assemble on the soccer fields, then walked to Bishop Ferry Road, up Bishop Ferry Road, went to the roundabout area where Bishop Ferry meets 146, and the group stayed there for, I'd say, about 5 minutes, and then walked down 146 to the public safety building, and then eventually walked back down 146 to the Common. So when they walked from the Common and then back to the Common, they did walk in the middle of the street, which was very stressful. Obviously, because we're always concerned about the safety of everybody involved, not only the people involved in the rally, but motorists and people along the route. So when they did walk in the road, it was very stressful. But I won't get into too many details about it. There was a lot of talk today about freedom and equality, which I don't think anybody would argue with those sentiments. Those are tenets of our founding documents. And so that was a lot of the talk that I heard, and saw many people that I knew, both within the group that congregated at the Common, and then walked eventually to the public safety building, and also saw many people that I knew at the public safety building. I do want to commend our Buildings and Grounds Department, who did a tremendous job. One of the concerns we had was side streets off Bishop Ferry in 146, that people, as they approached Bishop Ferry in 146, that people coming out of those side streets would be alerted to the fact that there was a group of people walking down the main road, whether it be Bishop Ferry or 146. Now, we had hoped, certainly, that and planned that they would remain on our trail and sidewalk system. That did not occur, so there was a contingency plan for that, again, to ensure everybody's safety to the greatest extent possible. But our Buildings and Grounds Department were deployed at those side streets to make sure that people were alerted and to avoid any accident that might occur. The state police and the sheriff the Sheriff's Department did a great job Also, the need to be nimble and flexible as the group moved to different locations and basically shutting off streets where needed. And we're not, we're talking about large streets, but as far as traffic volume, busy streets such as Bishop Berry and 146. So it was necessary to make decisions very quickly about where to deploy assets and where to best position all of the personnel that we had to ensure the most safe situation for everybody involved. So I just want to commend security, buildings and grounds, Sheriff's Department and State Police for doing a great job in keeping everybody safe. And the communication was very good, and people were in the spots that they needed to be at all times. So again, it could have been a very unsafe situation, but the fact that the group walked again from the common to the public safety building and back, and there were no injuries, I think is a testament to the job that we did to keep everybody safe. So that was the very basics of what happened, and it was a very peaceful protest as well, which is great. And interestingly, there was a small group of people that didn't wear anything that would make you believe that they were part of any group or part of the people working with the main group that was organizing the rally. But they did stay in contact with the police at different checkpoints and exchanged information, so that that was something that was appreciated as well. A couple of things coming up. Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, we're gonna stream a presentation which will be recorded and logged on the town website, cliftonpark.org. And the subject will be Crescent Waste Systems, sewer systems. At this point in the process of us assuming ownership of a private sewer system, and we've done this on several occasions, we would have had a public meeting to invite all of the customers to provide information, answer questions, with the limitations on gatherings that just can't be done right now. So we thought streaming a meeting and having that meeting available for people to view on cliftonpark.org would be a very good option. And the reason we're doing it Wednesday is one, I know the engineering firm that has been working on the map plan and report, working as quickly as possible to not only acquire information from Crescent Waste, but also take all the information and put it into a map plan and report that is necessary for us to move to the next step of a public hearing and creating a special district for the system. So we're gonna, now that they have the information ready, we can have that meeting on Wednesday night. That'll precede the public hearing on the same matter on Monday night at the town board meeting. So please, if you're within Crescent Waste, and there's about 2,000 customers, so it is not a small system. So if you're in Crescent Waste, if you can, watch that meeting, and if you have any questions, please get those questions to myself or Mike O'Brien at 371-6651. There is a mailing that is out to every customer of Crescent Waste that talks about the meeting that will be on the website, public hearing, and also provides some information. It certainly also refers to the ability to review the map plan and report on the website as well. And that's under the sewer department, right, Matt? Sewer department page. Yeah, because we put that in the letter too. So it's under the sewer department page on the website. So we're trying to get as much information out to everybody. Want to contact everybody by mail. Now, like I said, the public hearing will be next Monday. We're going to move our meetings to 7 o'clock starting next Monday. We'll have two public hearings, one on the creating the special district for the assumption and ownership of Crescent Waste, and also the Ballston Lake Sewer Project. Ballston had their public hearing last week, and they are planning to vote this week, I think, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. For some reason, the 9th, tomorrow rings a bell, but,
I thought they met on Thursday.
oh, okay. So that would be the 11th. I think they were planning to vote this week to either reestablish the district or not, as we've been talking about at the past town board meetings here recently. We talked about the necessity for going through the process of reestablishing the district due to the increase in cost and the large amount of new grant funding that's been made available to offset the cost to the users. So we talked about that at the last meeting when we set the public hearing. So those two public hearings will be Monday at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center on the Common. The reason we'll have them at the Senior Community Center is there's more room in the lobby and outside. It's more conducive to distancing. So people that want to come and speak at the public hearings we just ask that you wear a mask, that you distance, and that location offers more opportunity to distance. So that's why we're having the two public hearings there next Monday. Coming up on Saturday, we'll have our fourth public mask distribution. It'll be from 10 to 12 at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center. Same place we've had the other three. We have, I think, a great system that gets people in and out quickly. Looks like the weather is going to be good. We've been fortunate to receive donations of masks from different Clifton Park residents, such as a gentleman by the name of Bindu, Albany Telugu also donated many masks to the town of Clifton Park, as did the Chinese Community Center. And the Chinese Community Center is also donating the masks, or many of them, depending on how many people show up on Saturday. They'll be donating a few thousand masks to give out on Saturday. So we do thank the Chinese Community Center for once again coming through for the town of Clifton Park and its residents. And then on Sunday at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center, it seems to be a popular place, there will be food giveaway by the Rivers family. The annual Deanna Rivers tournament will not be played this year every year it's just a tremendous event, and it's sad that unfortunately it can't happen this year. But as always, the River family is turning a negative situation into a positive. They've collected a tremendous amount of food donations as well as monetary donations. And so Saturday night, they'll be there putting all of this together in packages. And then on Sunday, they'll be distributing the food to people. And it's available to anybody that comes to the center that day. We're going to use the same process that we use for the mass distribution. Don't get out of your vehicle. Just follow the cones and the signs, and we'll get everybody in and out very quickly. So I just got back to town hall, so I did not from the rally, so I don't have that time offhand. Matt, can you look it up, because it's on
10 to 12.
10 to 12 on Sunday, okay. It is on our social media, has been all week, and website. So if you're in need, certainly we have many neighbors that are in need that have lost their job, and some have not worked for a lengthy period of time. This is another opportunity for you to take advantage of some assistance that is being made available for those who need it. So please come out and accept this wonderful generosity from the Rivers family. So we continue to have a very busy June here in the town of Clifton Park. We've had very good response to the July 4th parade that will go on. So we won't have marchers, it'll be vehicles only. But the response has been very good, and we have also posted the applications for sponsors as well as people that want to be involved in the parade online and on our Facebook page. So more the merrier. We'd love to have as many people as possible be a part of this annual tradition. We're still considering if we might be allowed to have large gatherings by early September, is have fireworks maybe over Labor Day weekend, but we shall see. So a lot going on, and there's many more things that will also be upcoming that we will be announcing, and some exciting things going on as we are now in phase 2 of the reopening. There are more people back to work, which is great. We'll talk a little bit about that during our resolutions today. Any other communications or announcements at this time? Okay. All right, very good. Teresa, if you could read through the resolutions, please.
A resolution approving amendment number 1 to a contract with Niagara Mohawk doing business as National Grid for the acquisition of streetlights within the town. Whereas by resolution number 266 of 2019, the town board authorized the execution of a purchase and sale agreement with National Grid for the utility-owned streetlights within the town for an amount no greater than $490,923 for the acquisition costs incurred by the agreement based on the estimated book value, including transition costs and transaction costs. And whereas under direction from the New York State Public Service Commission, National Grid undertook a review of the net book value formula by which the company valued streetlights assets in the town, and whereas the net book value analysis resulted in an increase in the purchase price for the National Grid streetlights within the town to $491,863, and a decrease in related transition and transaction costs to $8,541.79, resulting in a total new acquisition cost of $500,404.79, And whereas the final purchase price will be calculated and provided to the town no less than 10 days prior to the closing date based on current inventories. And whereas the town board wishes to accept the new sale price and amend the agreement with National Grid for the acquisition of streetlights in town, now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign amendment number 1 to the agreement for purchase and sale of streetlights among Niagara Mohawk Power Corporation doing business as National Grid to acquire all national or Niagara Mohawk streetlights. And be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer an additional $9,481.79 from unreserved fund balance to general fund street lighting equipment. A resolution appointing Kristen Ganem as a marriage officer in the town of Clifton Park for 1 day, July 17th, 2020, whereas the state domestic relations law, section 11C, authorizes town boards to appoint marriage officers who shall have the authority to solemnize marriages within the town, and whereas town resident Kristen Ganem of 12B Spyglass Hill wishes to serve as a marriage officer in the town pursuant to the New York State domestic relations law for 1 day, Friday, July 17th, 2020, and for 1 ceremony. That being for the marriage of Carissa Hatley and Cody Freemeyer. Now therefore be it resolved that Kristen Ganem, 12B Spyglass Hill, Clifton Park, is hereby appointed as a marriage officer in the town of Clifton Park pursuant to New York State domestic relations law, section 11C, for 1 day, July 17th, 2020, and for 1 ceremony, that being for the marriage of Carissa Hatley and Cody Freemeyer. A resolution establishing the salaries and hourly rates for the day camp and pool staff for the 2020 summer season, whereas the town board wishes to hire staff to operate the day camps and 3 town-owned pools for the 2020 season, and whereas the town board also wishes to establish a salary matrix for seasonal personnel to be hired to operate summer day camps and town-owned pools for the 2020 season. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby establishes Schedule A for the rates of pay for seasonal personnel associated with the summer recreation day camps, and be it further resolved that the town board hereby establishes Schedule B for the rates of pay for seasonal personnel associated with the town pools. A resolution hiring specialists for the 2020 full day and half day summer day camp program, whereas the town board wishes to hire staff for operation of the town's summer days camp program, and whereas the Department of Parks and Recreation has recommended that the individuals listed in the attached Schedule A be hired. Now therefore be it resolved that the individual listed in the attached Schedule A be hired as staff for the town's 2020 day camp program effective immediately until August 21st, 2020, and be it further resolved that the staff be paid as indicated on Schedule A day camp salaries and hourly rate matrix for summer recreation 2020 established by a resolution in 2020. A resolution recommending a streamlined process for bars and restaurants to utilize tents and other temporary modifications to allow for outdoor seating during Phase 2 reopening of the Capital Region. Whereas the Capital Region and Saratoga County are emerging from the restrictions on economic activity imposed through Governor Cuomo's Executive Orders 202.1 SAC related to the COVID-19 emergency, and whereas pursuant to Executive Order 202.38 and consistent with guidance issued by the New York State Department of Health on June 4th, 2020, restaurants and bars within the county are allowed to open to the extent that seating and parking capacity is available for outdoor seating. And whereas the town board wishes to provide maximum flexibility to the bar and restaurant establishments within the town to open for outdoor seating consistent with New York State Department of Health minimum state standards as published by New York State Department of Health and posted on the town's website, cliftonpark.org, and whereas permits for tents for outdoor events and seating are provided for in section 103.16 of the town code, now therefore be it resolved that the enforcement of local ordinances relative to site plan approvals for modifications to restaurant facilities for temporary modifications and expansions of seating capacity on private property associated with bar and restaurant establishments within the town was suspended through October 15th, 2020, and be it further resolved that the Director of Building and Development is authorized to issue temporary authorization for tents or canopies to enable outdoor seating capacity consistent with the New York State Fire and Building Codes through October 15, 2020. Be it further resolved that the permit fees for tents contained in section 10316 are hereby waived for existing bar and restaurant establishments through October 15, 2020.
Very good. Any questions on the resolutions? You can read the headings, please.
Resolution number 112 of 2020, a resolution approving amendment number 1 to a contract with Niagara Mohawk doing business as National Grid for the acquisition of streetlights within the town.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Romano, second by Mrs. Standard. So this has been a long ongoing project, hasn't it? We were notified, everything was moving relatively smoothly. And then we were notified several months ago that there would be a pause in the process. So we would not be moving to the next step because PSC was needed to have an additional review about the buyouts for these projects, not just ours, but all of them. And Tom, if you can explain a little bit about why they stopped the, not only our project, but all of them. Put us on pause, like New York on pause, before the official New York on pause. Tell us why and what changed.
The statute that enabled municipalities such as ours to acquire the streetlights within their towns, or municipalities, changed the valuation and required the utilities to value, for purposes of this sale, these sales, with a net book value formula. And they delegated to the PSC the authority to review that net book value formula based on the age and the types of streetlight assets that were in the inventory. So they had approved the purchase price once that we had agreed to. Grid wasn't able to offer the price to us, which they did in March of 19 without that approval. And we went through our due diligence on a number of other aspects of the sale, approved, accepted the offer by resolution in November, and then almost immediately, December or early January, we were told that they were going to re-review the net book value formula. So they did that from January until sometime in mid-May, I guess. We were, I think it might have been, I know it was in May, that we were provided with a new valuation. It's not substantially different than the old valuation. I think, as you can see from the resolution, it's a net increase of $8,500 in total. But that's what held us up for the past 5 months.
Yeah. So, so what's changed from the first deal we were offered, which was approved by everybody, including us, and this one?
The value of the lights themselves are up by about $10,000 and change, and the transition costs and the administrative and transition costs for processing the deal is down by about $2,000. So the net increase in cost to us is $8,549.
Which on a percentage basis is very, very small.
No, the cost to the municipalities was more in lost savings for the 5 months of going through this process than these dollars could represent.
Yeah, oh yeah, by now, you would have saved a heck of a lot more money than the very small additional costs that they're now saying the lights will be for Clifton Park and, I assume, all the other municipalities. Not that there's too many, I don't think, at this point, that are at the, well, for those at the point we're at right now, probably very few.
And two,
Two? Okay.
in the National Grid territory.
So, yeah, it's just been a colossal waste of time, really, as it appears to me, but I don't know all the inner workings, either do you, and there's very limited information we've been given as to why this process needed to play out as it did, why our project had to be delayed several months. Very little information along those lines.
And then, of course,
And I don't know if we'll ever get any more information than we already know.
it's not a very transparent process. And then, of course, they were assuming they were working on it when this lockdown occurred. That slowed everyone's processing of, the review of the medical value.
And it seemed, people I talked to, and me, myself, when we were alerted that this additional review process would need to move forward through the PSC, naturally I thought, oh, maybe they found a mistake and the cost will go down, right? I mean, everybody I talked to said, oh, yeah, I'm sure that's what's gonna happen. But it went up a very small amount. But whatever, I mean, the savings with these projects are very powerful, as we've explained in the past ad nauseum. And we're eager to move it forward and start saving money and getting the job done. So now, where do we stand? We accept this. You already accepted one agreement. Now we're accepting the second agreement. PSC has approved it.
Well, not
Right.
officially, they have
Well,
not
no, but
officially approved.
they've approved they basically approved the numbers, right?
Right, so now it's a whole new process. National Grid has 60 days to submit the new agreement to the PSC. They have another, I should know this, but it's either 60 or 90 days the PSC has to approve the total package, which they've already approved the number, they know how many lights there are, so I don't know how much there is to
I mean,
take
how much?
90 days on.
Yeah, I mean, they approved this, the same amount of lights. It's the same deal. It's the same system that they've already reviewed and approved once. Now, apparently, there's been some minor change in the calculation of the buyout. Okay. So that's already been approved. The system hasn't changed. So you would think this won't take long at all for it to review and approve this new agreement. But who knows?
The attachment agreement, which is essentially the license agreement by which we would, because once we acquire the lights, they're still gonna own the poles. So we have to have a license or a lease agreement to maintain what are now gonna be our lights on their poles. That's already been signed, that hasn't been changed as a result of this, and that's a very lengthy document. So I can't imagine what would take 5 months from here, but that's the amount of time they have for the rest.
All right, well, hopefully it doesn't take 5 months, but who knows? Any questions, Tom or myself? There's not much to say, more for us to say on the, on the project itself. We've been talking about it for years. All right, Teresa?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standar?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 113 of 2020, a resolution appointing Kristen Ganem as a marriage officer in the town of Clifton Park for one day, July 17th, 2020.
So moved. Second?
Moved by Ms. Waller, second by Mrs. Standard, and we congratulate Carissa and Cody and wish them many years of success and happiness. Teresa?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waller?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 114 of 2020, a resolution establishing the salaries and hourly rates for day camp and pool staff for the 2020 summer season.
So moved. Second?
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Ms. Wallowit. We did announce recently that after receiving guidance from New York State allowing summer camps to move forward, that we will be offering our full day camp for families this year. And I commend the town board and everybody involved because we did not make any rash decisions to and just waited out the process, right? We wanted to see how things might change over time, and they have changed, which is good. So once we received word that we could move forward with the camp, we did a couple of things. One, made it known to everybody that has signed up a child for the camp if they would like to cancel. If they don't feel comfortable with their child attending camp, they can cancel and we would give them a full refund. We also began, once word was out, that the camp would proceed in 2020. Parks and Rec Department began receiving many calls about signing up their child. We had been getting a lot of inquiries each week over the last month or so from people eager to sign up their child for camp. The weeks, any spots that we had remaining in the weeks, the 8 weeks that the camp runs, quickly filled, and we began a wait list. I think we still have some openings in the first week. I think the rest are wait listed the last mile which comes in. Unfortunately, due to, yes, we can have camp, but the procedures and standards and guidance that will be provided to staff will be much different than normal. We'll only be able to serve roughly half the number of campers as we would normally. So there will be less openings each week this year. One thing that we need to do to the greatest extent possible is keep the same group of campers together for as long a time as possible. Now, since people sign up for full day camp by the week, we'll at least be able to keep the same kids together for 1 week. In some cases, it could be 2, 3, 4 weeks, but at least for 1 week, those kids will all be together with the same counselor, and that's an important piece of the guidance that we've heard will be included from New York State for summer camps. And the other factor is on bad weather days, we do need to move inside, and we need to keep the kids in those groups and distanced as much as possible. And so our ice arena is where the camp is based, and that's where the kids go when the weather's bad. And there's only so much space within the ice arena to distance the kids. So those are two of many different reasons why we can only serve a smaller number of campers this year. But we're proud and excited to be able to even offer the summer camp because we have remained on a readiness footing, awaiting guidance that did end up being released last week. So we were in a position to move quickly, and so I want to thank everybody for their hard work on that. Still putting some things together. There are some people that aren't comfortable working the camps that we plan to have as part of our staff. But I think there's definitely a lot of talent available to provide a great camp experience, fun and safe experience for as many kids as possible. The half-day camp will not be able to proceed this year. The school facilities are not available, which is very, very important for two of the sites. And it's a day program. You buy passes and you can send your kid any day that you like, but you're buying a pass for a day, so people might send their kid, or, might send them on a Monday and on a Thursday, and, maybe Tuesday and Wednesday next week. So we don't have the same continuity with the registrations that we have with the full day, where we can keep kids together. So there wouldn't be any continuity to keep the kids together. But even so, without the school facilities, it would be impossible really to accommodate the half-day camps in at least two of the sites. So I know that'll be a disappointment to some people, but we're one of the few. I don't know that there might be, but I don't know that there are any other municipalities offering summer camp, because it is going to be much more challenging this year. So we're just doing the best we can under the circumstances to offer the best possible fun and safe experience for as many kids as possible. So I just hope people understand that, and we'll move forward. Is Mila out there? Mila, you out there? Tom, if you could give up the chair there.
Where do
Right where Tom was. So as far as the full-day camp, we wait list on every week except the first week, or is that filled too now?
No, we still have room in, the first week,
We do.
but, we have had a couple of cancellations.
Right.
So we're like 2/3 the way down of our wait list already.
Oh, good.
So there's a chance that we'll still be able to get some more people in.
Okay. Good, and that's, we start taking registrations in February.
Yes.
So by the time, March came along and the pause, and, then April, May, there was quite a few people registered by the time the pause happened. So they kind of hung in there, I guess, waiting to see what might happen. But we understand that people that registered in a different world, as it were, back in February, early March, may not be comfortable now having their kid attend camp. So we did want to give them the opportunity to receive a full refund.
Yeah.
So we have received a number of those.
Yeah, we've been sending those upstairs, and some of those checks have already been cut. We also have parents who are canceling, not for safety concerns, but because they've been furloughed or they're home, and typically they would have been working, so they're gonna be home, and so they're gonna keep their kids home.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that makes sense, yeah. So we'll still be able to, the 120 slots that we'll have available each of the 8 weeks. I'm sure we'll fill all of them fairly easily, and we'll just do the best we can with the camp this year.
we're trying to be as flexible as possible with parents. You know, our deadlines, we're pushing back everything. Some parents aren't gonna know if they're back to work in a week or in 2 weeks. So, I would encourage anyone who wants to register or if they're not sure to at least go on the wait list, put their kids' names down. So there's a possibility they can get the weeks if they need them.
Yeah, I also heard that there will be some guidance soon on pools. What that guidance will be, I don't know. But again, we're on a readiness footing there. We've been in a planned project up at Country Knolls, which is just about finished on the coping and a lot of the stones that go around the perimeter of the pool. Dwayne has been working quite a bit in all the pools, getting them ready. Well, at least to the point where if we're able to open the pools, we'll still have more work to do, but we won't be starting at zero. Plus, there's general maintenance that should be done each year. There's never been a year we haven't opened a pool since we owned them in the last 20 years. But even if we weren't planning to open them, it's important that we do certain general maintenance items anyway. So if we receive guidance soon, and we were able to salvage a pool season this year, we can do it, because we'll have a lot of the work done to be ready. So again, it's important not to give up. I don't know how many pools will be open from a public standpoint, but I know so recently Colony and Bethlehem and some others announced that their pools would not open. But the town board has believed that we shouldn't give up until there's just no reason to even consider that we could have a camp or open a pool in 2020. All right, very good. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Just
Do you have
that
another
our office is
resolution?
very excited to have people come back into it. That's for sure. So we're looking forward to camp. We're very excited, and we do appreciate that the board did not cancel, that you waited, and, that we are able to put a plan in place for full day. So we do appreciate that.
Yeah. Good. Okay, reason?
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yeah.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 115 of 2020, a resolution hiring specialist to the 2020 full day and half day summer camp program.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Whalen. Now, the resolution says full day and half day summer camp.
Yes, the sort of the final one that we actually need approved is just Catherine Taylor for the assistant director for full day.
Mm-hmm.
The half-day specialists, those are all new, so we will not be in need of their services. And art specialist for full day, we have our art specialist from Locust Lane, who's very experienced, worked for us for a number of years. She's interested in doing that position over at full day. We're very happy to bring her over.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, we are disappointed that, the half-day camp won't be able to move forward unless something changes there sometime very soon. I don't know. The governor just said that they can have graduations now, 150 in one place. He also mentioned that there would be some summer school this year. So does that mean the school facilities will be available? I don't know.
We don't know yet.
I don't think that's been established. I don't think we received any guidance saying that school facilities would be available. But maybe we're working toward that. I don't know.
Amy Cullen over at Shen, we've been in contact with her. She oversees the facilities. And we heard last Monday that we were not able to use the schools for camp. And then on Tuesday, when the governor said day camps can run, she said that Dr. Robinson was gonna look into it. We haven't heard anything since. So as of now, schools are still not available.
Well, Superintendent Robinson was here last Monday, and we did ask him about the tennis courts on school grounds and school facilities, because there was that email that went out and said that facilities will not be available all summer. But I did ask him, well, if the circumstances change, could that email, the contents of that email also maybe change, so that there would be the possibility of using school facilities, using the tennis courts on the, and that was just one example, because I get asked about that, you know, all the town courts are open, how come the Shen courts aren't open, that kind of thing. So, so he, you know, he did say circumstances can change based on the guidance from New York State, so the way things change every day, you know, I haven't even quit on half day at this point. But every day that goes by, the odds are a lot slimmer. Same for the pools. But, so I would say, we already have all of these people on the list to be hired. I say we hire them, whether they're full day or half day. And who knows, we could hear from the governor tomorrow and say all the school facilities are open, and Shen says, yes, we can use our facilities for half day. So that'd be great.
Okay.
So why don't we do that? If everybody's okay with that. And why give up at this point, right? Been an interesting year.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 116 of 2020, a resolution recommending a streamlined process for bars and restaurants to utilize tents and other temporary modifications to allow outdoor seating during phase 2 reopening of the capital region.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Ms. Wallowett. John Scott? Yes. I don't think he is.
No.
I do want to thank John and Tom. We have been working on this, figuring that this would be a relevant piece of legislation that could assist our restaurants. Certainly our hospitality sector of our economy has been hit very hard with the closings of establishments, and therefore many of our neighbors losing jobs right away as soon as the shutdown began. So we've been working on this, and then I was just talking about how things change daily. All of a sudden, it was a surprise, I think, to everybody. A lot of the restaurants I talked to were certainly surprised that suddenly guidance came from the state that outdoor dining was something that they could do, and it's a way to increase capacity of the amount of tables that they can offer to their customers. So when we heard that, it's, well, we better kick this resolution into gear and get it done right away and announce it and make sure that the businesses that are affected positively by this legislation know about it. And so getting that word out right away was important as soon as we received that surprise guidance. So what this does is eliminates portions of the normal permitting process that a restaurant would go through to have the ability to erect a tent next to their building. It basically eliminates the planning board review. It also eliminates the permit fees. However, it does not eliminate the standards, particularly the fire codes, the structural standards that are established by New York State. But the tent companies, I mean, they know what the codes are for New York State. They know what is allowed here in the Empire State. It allows these restaurants to quickly move to erect a tent, establish additional capacity for seating. It eliminates the permit fees, and it also eliminates most of the process to get to the point of having the approval to erect a tent. So I know there were many happy business owners in the town of Clifton Park. I want to thank Tom and John and Steve for working on this and getting it to this point and finishing it quickly. We got that guidance last week. Anything you want to add here, Tom?
No, not really. The way we wrote it is they don't even need a tent, just a set of tables with umbrellas or without umbrellas, wherever they think they have room. And let's see, give it a quick review, any kind of a sketch, or I'm sure he'll drive over and take a look at what they're asking for and get a letter of approval out the same day.
Yeah, so Steve's been very good with that, not only reviewing the paperwork, but as Tom mentioned, getting to the restaurant, reviewing the plan on the ground, and ensuring that the approval gets out right away. So, I think this is a great step. And I know we have restaurants that immediately move to get going on this. So we're proud to help them. It's another part of the important support that the town is providing for our business community as they begin to reopen. We have, I think we're up to, well, it's over 15, probably around 20 businesses that have contacted us for masks. You know, we made that announcement that the IDA had purchased protective masks for donations to businesses. So we've donated thousands of masks out to Clifton Park businesses. And also the town has purchased masks that we've been using for, we've been disseminating them to the senior housing complexes as well as at our public mask distributions. So it's important in these times to be proactive, to assist our businesses as much as possible as they get back on their feet and hopefully back to normal operations as quickly as possible, because by doing that, the people that lost their jobs back in March will be able to get back to their careers here in short order. Any questions, comments?
So thank you, Tom. I think that this is incredibly important for us to get back to some. I'd like to go to a restaurant again. It's just like getting here. I mean, you know, it's really amazing. So thank you for getting this done so quickly.
It was a good one to work on.
Okay. What else? Okay. All right, Teresa.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallach?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. So, and I know Steve's been busy taking calls, and that's why we wanted to get the word out right away, so businesses knew that this would be available and they can start the process. So far so good. I've seen a ton of pictures on social media of people out there going back to restaurants and having a good time, and nice to get back to some normalcy. Right? Any other business to come before the board this evening? Okay, seeing none. We'll be, again, at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center next Monday night for those 2 public hearings. We have a mask distribution on Saturday, 10 to 12 at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center. And I want to thank everybody for being very flexible during this fluid situation that we find ourselves in. Changes just about every day and has since early March. But the reopening of Town Hall has been very smooth. We've installed new protective measures in most of our departments, certainly the ones where it's most needed. How are yours working out, Teresa?
Great.
Yeah?
Fine.
And if you haven't been to Town Hall yet, they have these plexiglass protective shields, if you will. And we've also utilized some empty offices to distance employees as much as possible. So thank you, everybody, for your continued flexibility and adaptation, new guidance, rules, and everything else on a regular basis. All right?
Motion to adjourn.
Anybody else want to-
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilwoman Romano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waller?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, thank you.